Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, things just keep falling apart? Like you one step ahead, but get knocked back five? I've been there. And if I'm being honest, failure used to scare me a lot. Okay. It used to scare me a lot. But now I see differently. Failure it has been my greatest teacher. Has been my greatest teacher. Today, I want to share what I've learned from failing and starting over because I believe that most of us are scared to start over. Most of us are scared to fail because we don't want to start over. And we feel like if we start over, we wasted so much time, right? It's not the end, it's just the beginning. Trust me. Hello, everybody. Sanmonani. My name is Pumla, the Lady of Power. Welcome to the Lock Fam Kingdom Diaries. This is our diaries. This is what we do. This is pretty much what we learn every time, and we share with you guys because this is the diary of the Lock Fam. Okay, I had to move that a little bit because I felt like you guys are too much this side. Anyways, let's start the video. Number one, failure is not the end, it's a redirection. And why do I say that? Why do I had to agree, like I 100%, 1000% agree with this point? Failure is not the end. It's not the end of everything, but it's the restart. It's the beginning. It takes you where God wants you to be. It brings you closer to God. It brings you closer to your purpose. Because sometimes we think that we're doing something and we fight to stay in that position because we believe that this is where I'm supposed to be. If it ain't working, remove it. If it ain't working, move away from it. Whether it's your business, whether it's your YouTube channel, whether it's your uh, working out, things that you eat, whatever direction of failing that you are seeing in your life, or whatever things that you feel like these things are not happening, they're not moving, I don't see no change, move away from it because it might just be blocking your redirection. But I'm going to also tell you this: if you don't want to move away from it, God is going to move it away from you. Okay, so either or. It's either you wait for the painful time or you do it yourself, right? So yeah, when something doesn't work out, when something doesn't work out, it's easy to feel like you're wasting your time or made the wrong decision. That's how I used to feel. I used to feel like I made a wrong decision every time, or I'm not good enough. Ooh, I'm not good enough. I used to feel like I'm not good enough. Why am I not being able to succeed in this? Because I would look at other people succeeding in what they're doing, and I would ask myself, am I slow? Am I dumb? Am I this? Am I that? I will take everything that everyone was saying to me about me, and place it into myself and put it straight into my forehead until I had to learn that there's nothing I can do. I just have to do what I want to do. What I believe, who I believe I am, that's who I am. Right? Because if you believe that you're not good enough, that everything that other people, you're not smart enough, everything that other people tells you, if you believe those things and if you place those things into your heart, it's always going to stop you from doing something. So that's what I used to believe I am. However, I had to change that. I had to be like, okay, when that thought comes, I need to switch, and think about who I really am. Uh, so I used to get frustrated when things didn't go as planned. But now I ask myself, what is what is this trying to teach me? Right? I always ask myself, what is this trying to teach me? That's a very great question if you are going through a failing season. What is it trying to teach me? We had to close our business, right? And when we close this business, we ask ourselves, what is this teaching us? This is teaching us that we need to be prepared in order for us to succeed. we also need to plan ahead, and we also needed to do things and pour into ourselves before we show up. But we would rush to go to the business. It felt like it was a job instead of it being a passive income, right? A business. So we lost financially, we lost mentally, we lost physically, we lost in a lot of directions or in a lot of things that we were doing. We lost time with our family. But all that loss, we had to regain it because we decided to restart. We didn't restart in the same business platform, but we restarted in a different business platform, right? We That helped us gain time with our family. It helps us focus, be able to sit down, read books, work from home, and don't have to be rushing. Every time I have to be there, I have to show up. Because I remember a long time ago when I was talking, writing down, journaling, and talking to God, having my moments with God, I asked him that I want something that's going to have me be present for my kids and for my husband and for myself. Something that I won't be able to say, I can't show up because I have to go to work. I can't show up because I have to be there in my business because I am running the business and I am the employee and I am this, I am that, I'm this. So we had to restart. We had to be okay with restarting. We had to be okay with losing everything. We had to be okay with saying no to a lot of things when it comes to our finances, when it comes to our self, literally. Like, we had to not show up for our friends, and that didn't feel good, but we had to do it anyways, right? Because if you want to be somewhere, you got to, if you want to say yes to something, you got to say no to another thing, right? So number 2, growth happens in the struggle. Let me get a sip of the tea for that, because that is it's an amazing point. That's all I can say, guys. Growth happens in the struggle. When they say growth happens in a struggle, I think of my days where I was in a struggle, and I I was feeling so much of God's presence during me crying, during me like, now what am I going to do? I have kids, we have a home, we have this, we have that, we have to pay for this, we have to pay for cars, we it was a lot. It was a lot. And I felt God's present in that moment, because that's when they say that in the struggle, that's where you grow, that's where you get closer to God. And those times were the most powerful times for me. Um, and what I can say to you about it is that growth is uncomfortable. No one likes to struggle, but those tough times, that were real transformations. That's where real transformation happens. When I failed, I was forced to look at things differently. I saw things differently. I stopped crying about things, but I started making change. I started moving differently. To learn the new skills, I had to learn the new skills. I had to start over from the business that I had. I had to learn another skill for another business, which was so successful, right? So you learn the new skills and you have to trust the process. It wasn't easy, but I wouldn't be who I am today. And I wouldn't be where I am and where my family is today if it hadn't be for if it hadn't been for that stretch, right? Because I had to stretch in those moments. I had to get out of my comfort zone in those moments. I had to do something that I didn't want to do in those moments. I just wanted to sit down, watch TV, find things that were going to distract me. But we said no. We are going to redirect this. We're going to restart in a different way, because if this is working and this didn't work, let's focus on what worked. That's where we're at today, right? If you're struggling right now, don't see it as a punishment. It is a preparation. So wipe your tears and trust the process. The last point, which is the third point, starting is a power move. So if you're starting over, you are making a great move. You are making such a powerful move that you are now having to learn a new skill, or you are going back to the business that you have or things that you had in your life where you like, I was able to start that business, so I'm going to go back into the business and I'm going to look in the business and figure out what it is that made that business lose so much, that made me lose so much, right? And you're going to go back in there and you're going to find those things and you're going to solve that problem, and that makes it so powerful because you are ready to learn a new skill on how to solve a problem, on how to solve that problem that you didn't see when it came and shut your business down, right? For the longest time, I thought starting over meant I was behind. I said this earlier, that it made me feel like I was behind, like I wasn't good enough, like I was this, that. But now I realize that starting over isn't a failure. It is a power move. If I start over right now, I am walking in power because I'm walking in faith, because I believe that starting over is going to take me somewhere bigger than where I have been. Some of the most successful people in the world had to restart multiple times. Yes. Yes. Yes, and they tell you, like, if you read the books, I read a lot. I love reading. If you read the books, guys, you hear the stories, and I used to think that growing up, I used to think that it's all a lie. Everyone who has money, who has this, who has that, they all have the same story. They all have the same story of failing 10 times, or of coming out of the families, or of being homeless. And I was like, why everybody who's successful has a story like this? They're lying, you know. I used to have that mindset growing up back in the days, okay? um so yes, they have to start over. They have to, like, if you listen to their stories, girl, you know what I mean. It's a struggle. It is a struggle because sometimes you want to do something just because you see your friend doing it, and then you have to take an L because it wasn't for you. You saw someone doing it, and then you wanted to do it, and that will literally push you back because that's not where you're supposed to be. This is where you're supposed to be, right? You're supposed to ask God, where exactly am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to do? What do I like doing the most? And take it from there. So I would say that you just have to wait, and you just have to restart, and you have to do something that you like the most. But you are going to start over, restart multiple times, no matter what type of business you have, no matter what type of mentality you have, kids, it could be anything. You just have to start over and tell yourself that restarting is a power move. So I'm going to do it anyways. They didn't quit every time they started again, okay? So successful people didn't quit. They started again, and they were okay with it because they knew that what I'm doing is going to succeed anyways. Okay. Which is such an amazing, this is where the power comes. I just got a clip of a movie that I was watching. I can't remember what was the movie, but it was a Tyler Perry movie, right? Where the guy had a battery thing and he kept on going with the battery thing and he succeeded at the end, right? I don't want to talk about everything that happened to the movie, but the focus of the movie was this guy and this, and you know, the relationship and stuff like that, and the marriage. But I felt like he did not give up. He didn't even want to go to work. He kept on doing what he was doing until it was it gave him success, or it brought him success, because he did give up, and he kept on going to the same company. But that story, long story short, um if you're starting over, I think it's best for you to look at it as in, like, you are starting with experience. You already have an experience, you just have to fix one, two, and three, right? Okay, so you are wiser, stronger, and more prepared than before. hmm You are, because you're restarting, right? Okay, so if you are in a season where you feel like you have to start over, I want to remind you, you are not behind. You are not a failure. You are just being prepared. What's next? So I need you to ask yourself, what is next? Okay? You're just being prepared for what's next, right? Keep going, keep learning, and trust that this chapter is setting you up for something greater. Let me know in the comments, what's one lesson you have learned from failure? I would love to know. I would love to know, okay? Because I would love to share more on my end, because I have not just one failure, I have multiple failures. I had to start over and over and over. YouTube, I had to start over on YouTube 10 million times. I think I started my first YouTube in 2019. And because I was not being consistent, um I was not doing what I was supposed to do, right? I was not learning the new skill, but I was just doing what I'm seeing other people do. And I was doing for the fun of, like, I want to succeed at something, right? But I wasn't putting in the work, so I had to start over. And then same thing happened with the second time when I started over, and what happened? I started over, and businesses came into the midst of me starting over the YouTube, and then I had to stop again, and then I had to start over. And when you start over, your views move slow, your subscribers move slow, and it's just, it becomes a lot, because now you're not being faithful on the work that you said you were going to put by posting these videos on YouTube. You're just sleeping on them, right? So I couldn't do my YouTube, and then I had to start over again. Okay. That's where I'm at right now. I just started over again. Different niche. It's been doing good. I feel like it's a great niche. I feel like it's something that I should have done long time ago. I feel like God was literally telling me to do this instead of that. He was like, I gave you this, not for you to just hide it. I gave it to you for you to put it out there and show other people how to do it. That's why I gave you this, right? But I kept on pulling back. I feel like this year is an amazing year. This year is a restart year. This year is a year for me to put my talent out there and show people that this is who I am in general, right? And help those who need help when it comes to that, right? Anyways, let's close this video. I feel like it's taking too long. This message, if this message resonate with you, please don't forget, or please bless us with a like, and make sure that you subscribe. And also, don't forget to share it with someone who needs to hear about this story, who's struggling right now, someone who is going through it right now. I feel like sharing this with them is going to help them figure out that it's not failure, it's literally restarting, and it's preparing you for the best. So I want you to know that setback is a setup for a comeback. So embrace it and be okay with learning a new skill. I will be happy to hear from you down in the comments, you guys. So I'm going to be heading out, leaving you guys with this message. That was too much. Anyways, peace and love, you guys. I love y'all. Stay locked in. God vibes only.